Squat is the foundational exercise for lower body strength. But before you go to put any more plates on that barbell, it's important to master all squat variations. Working on our weaknesses can sustainably improve our squat form. Mastering different squat positions goes a long way in improving our ability to squat more and squat better.
Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about squat variations. So squat is the best foundational movement for your lower body strength. Today we're going to be looking at different squat variations from a beginner level, who is just squatting with the body weight, up to like the pause squats and pull squats with a barbell on top. The point of this video is to train through different variations and progressively train squat until you can get better at it. So most of the times you see guys squatting with like the barbell up on their traps, squatting with a perfect form, but when they get to that last 7th, 8th, 9th rep, they're already fatigued and knees start go inward. We're trying to push with our hips, and so form suffers. Instead of adding just more plates and progressively overloading by increasing the weight, today we're going to look at different variations. The first four are going to be more of a setup for like the perfect squat form, and the second set, which is the 6th and 7th exercise, are going to be squatting exercises that target specific muscles in the body that can allow you to perform the squat with the right form. Now note that this isn't the fix your squat or squatting mistakes type of video. This is just a different progression from beginner to advanced level, and the whole point of this video is to understand that when you get to that squat, like the perfect squat form, then you don't progressively overload just by increasing the weight, but you can do different stuff like pause squats and eccentric or isometric kinds of squats at that same load. And when you master these variations, you can actually work on your weaknesses to get the perfect squat form and improve your squat. Once you master these variations, the point is to go and be able to do the squat and slowly up the weight afterwards. So the first exercise is the bodyweight squat, and we basically do the bodyweight squat. It doesn't matter whether we advanced or amateurs. We do the bodyweight squat even for like mobility or for a proper squat setup for practicing the form. It has many different uses. So the bodyweight squat is basically the squat which is done in a proper, correct form without using any sort of external resistance like dumbbells or kettlebells or traps or elastic bands or anything like that. It's a great startup for mobility before you hit your real weights. And it's also great for beginners who have never trained with weights as a starter exercise. Now for beginners who can't even do the bodyweight squat, you'd look at different regressions like squatting on a bench or squatting with an elastic band forward.
Set up your feet hips width apart or slightly more. Position your feet 20 to 30 degrees out. Squat by pushing your hips down, flexing your knees while keeping an upright spine. Actively push your knees outwards. Stop before your heels lift off the ground. To get to a deeper squat, you can set up a platform with a little bit of lift, 3 to 6 centimeters. This can help you squat deeper, especially if you have tight calf muscles and you can't use the full range of motion in your ankles. On your way up, fully extend and additionally flex your quads. So exercise number 2 is the isometric squat. This is your muscle endurance kind of exercise in which you go in your squat position, you lay down your back on a wall or on a big fitness ball, and you basically try to survive for the next 20 to 40 seconds. So what this actually does is it puts your body, it puts your quadriceps muscles in a lengthened position where they're eccentrically stimulated, but there's actually a lot of tension. You're not actually going concentric and eccentric, so up and down. We're not doing reps here. We're just sitting with our body in a squat position, our back against the wall, and we're training the endurance, the performing under tension. We're increasing time under tension, and we're actually training our muscles to endure better when acidity shows up. So this is going to be in your lower part of the squat, or in like the part of the squats where you're very fatigued. You're going to get that boost in performance. To perform the static isometric squat, you'll need a wall to rest your back at. You come into a 90-degree squatting position in the knees, rest your back on the wall. Alternatively, you can add a fitness ball to challenge your balance. These will target your front quads most as they are already in an eccentric or elongated position but contracted. The third exercise is the abduction squat. This is also done weight-free, but it can also be done with a barbell or a kettlebell. So what you basically do is you perform the squatting motion, but you have an elastic band over your knees. And so anytime you go down, you're trying to push your knees out. Many people, when they're training, they have a weak muscle on the lateral side of the leg, which is called vastus lateralis, and it doesn't allow for proper hip abduction. So this hip movement where you're pushing the knees outwards. So what happens is knees go inward and there's increased shear pressure on the medial side of the knee. Instead, this movement is going to train you to push with your knees outwards, and it's going to instill that proper squatting pattern that when you're going up, you actually need to push the ground like this.
Position a band around your knees and perform the squat. Drop your hips, focusing on pushing your knees outwards in the direction of your toes. Your vastus lateralis hip abductor muscle work hard to push against the resistance of the band. Point is to instill a pattern of abduction and strengthen vastus lateralis so your knees don't drop inwards, as this increases pressure on the inner knee.
So exercise number 4 is the kettlebell squat. Now, the kettlebell squat is the first variation to which we add weights. So this is for your beginners that are transitioning from beginner to like a moderate or medium fitness level. It is our first progression which actually uses weights. So with the kettlebell squat, you can either have the kettle up here or down here, and you can perform the whole movement just as with the trap bar. It's just there are slight biomechanical differences when it comes to like hinging your knees and hips and activating the muscle. So the most comfortable and proper way to train squat is going to be with the barbell back on your upper traps, but this is a nice progression that's going to get you to actually lift the weight, even if that's just the bar. The kettlebell squat should be done in a very controlled manner, so you slowly go down in the eccentric part and keeping your spine straight up, and then you slowly raise. Now, kettlebells are not superior when compared to barbells, but they're definitely practical and easy to transport and cheap tools for your like home gym or garage gym, and for like any beginner to moderate level athlete.
Grip the kettlebell, drop your hips to squat down. Do it slowly and take control of your body and the weight. Don't let yourself drop down, but activate your muscles to resist the drop. Slowly push through your quads and glutes. Grip the kettlebell, drop your hips to squat down. Do it slowly and take control of your body and the weight. Don't let yourself drop down, but activate your muscles to resist the drop. Slowly push through your quads and glutes to straighten up. Once you get to 20 kilograms or 45 pounds, you can transfer to a barbell.
Number 5 is the high bar squat, which is the optimal foundational lower body exercise. The whole point of this video was for you to perfect that squat. So all the different variations of squats we've seen before, whether that's bodyweight squat or the static isometric one or the abduction squat with the band, the point of that was to go through the forms and go through different motions and to work on your form and mobility and to abduct the knees and to build the muscular strength and endurance for you to be able to lift the squats. The whole point of the other two variants of squats, so the 6th and the 7th, is for you to progress this squat, the high bar squat. So what you basically do is you get to a certain state where you can say lift a certain weight for 8 times, right? Instead of progressively overloading and pushing more plates on the barbell, you should stop at that weight until you can perfect these other 2 variants of squats. So what you do is, if you had the regular squat at say 100 kilograms for 8 reps and you could have done them perfectly, instead of adding more plates, you're going to transfer with the same weight and do exact same reps on the pause squat and on the pulse squat. And once you perfect those, then you get back to the regular squat and you improve and add more plates on that one.
Position yourself under the bar, position the bar on your upper trapezius muscles and step back. From here, drop down by lowering your hips, flexing your knees while keeping an upright spine. The main muscles worked here are quadriceps, knee extensors, and gluteus, which are hip extensors. You want to push yourself up and not forward. Doing so can cause shear pressure on the knee and low back, which can result in an injury. If that's happening in the last few reps, lower the weight, drop a few plates. Once you're comfortable with a certain weight for X amount of reps, progress onto the following 2 variations.
Exercise number 6 is the pull squat, where you're basically putting the barbell on with the same weight that you had at the squat, and you're performing a little pulse at the end. The point of this is to train your weaker points. So first of all, the time under tension is increased, which means is better metabolic effect and increased effect on like the muscle tearing and muscle growth later on. This can improve the strength of your lower body in the lower portion of the squat, where you're actually going down, then doing a pulse. Your body thinks you're gonna go up, but you actually shock the muscle by going down again and then bringing it up. So that shock requires adaptation from the muscle, which strengthens your lower portion of the squat. The last thing is you can feel a lot more burn and acidity building up in the muscle because you're not actually releasing the muscle up, but you're spending more time down there before you go up.
Perform the pull squat by starting out a proper squat. Then in the lowest position, push back, and before you extend, you do another mini squat and finally extend fully up. The pull squat will challenge your regular squatting pattern, putting more load on your muscles as it increases time under tension. It also shocks the muscle, creating the need to adapt.
So the last squat variation, and the 7th you're gonna wanna master, is the pause squat. Basically, you squat down, you pause in the lowest portion, and then you go up. So what this is gonna do is it's gonna disallow bouncing and using eccentric to concentric contraction. So when you go down, your knees cannot just bounce to go back, but you need to go down, stay there where you isometrically tense the muscle. It builds up that acidity, it gives that burn, it improves muscle endurance, but it also improves strength in the lower portion of the squat. So next time you go to the regular squat in the lower portion, you're going to be a lot stronger, and instead of pushing forward and getting back with the hips, you can actually extend upwards with the same weight. That's the point it is. It works by increasing time under tension. It works by combining concentric, eccentric to isometric exercise. It builds acidity and works on muscle endurance. And also, one of my favorite, it works the back erectors, where in the lower portion of the squat, you can actually be upright and not fall down or try to push forward. It works the back erectors because you need to stay in that upright position while you're in the lower portion of your squat, and then you can push up.
The pause squat is the perfect exercise to improve the lower portion of your squat. Squat down, pause at parallel or lower, hold for 1 second and push back up. What this does is it minimizes the eccentric-concentric force that you can use to lift the weight. It disallows the bounce in your knees and makes you really control the push from a lower level.
Big thanks for watching. That was around it for this video. So the most important takeaway from this video is when you're progressing your squat, first you're probably going to do some regressions if you're a beginner, so squat on a bench or something. Then you're going to do the bodyweight squat, knees go in the direction of your toes. Then you can add a little elastic band on the side where you can practice abduction and try to move and really squeeze out the ground. Then the next thing is you can work isometric squats, where you'll just stay in the lower portion of the squat, which is going to build that muscle endurance. And then you can start progressing with weights using different methods like resistance bands or kettlebells up until you get to 20 kilograms. Once you get to 20 kilograms, you can go under a bar and start practicing and optimizing your real squat form. Once you get to that barbell and you start adding weights up, at each level, let's say you add 40 kilos of plates, at each level you're going to want to perfect that weight with the pull squat and the pause squat before you're getting back to put more plates on the regular squat. That was it. Big thanks for watching. Actually, subscribe down below. I'm coming up with new videos. We're currently working on like a proper squat posture and form, and how to fix key mistakes and how to work on your weaknesses, etc. So stay tuned for that, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching again. Goodbye.